Hello everyone, greetings from the Costa del Sol. This is Santiago, Llera, your realtor here in Spain. And in this video, we are going to talk about a very specific topic. How much money can you make here through Airbnb short-term rentals? In Costa del Sol, we have mainly three kind of buyers. The people who are willing to relocate, they are from abroad and they want to move here to live full-time. Then there is these holiday home buyers, which are willing to use maybe a couple of months a year, not that long. The rest of the time where they are not using the apartment, they normally rent it out. And then the third profile is the clear investors that they are not needed to live or use the property in any way. They just purely buy for investment. Rather, it could be a new development or it could be a property who generate passive income through ideally short-term rentals. And this is the profile that we're going to talk about in the video today. We're going to focus about this kind of investment that you can do on the Costa del Sol when you buy to rent with touristic license, and we will see it straight away. So first of all, let's talk about the locations. When it comes to short-term rentals, touristic license, Airbnb kind of properties, it's super important that you understand the location. In a lot of areas on the Costa del Sol, Airbnb rentals is not allowed, basically because of the kind of people who live there. In general, the Spanish owners or Spanish buildings, where a big majority of Spanish owners, they are against the Airbnb, as you can imagine. They don't want to share the same elevator with people that comes and goes constantly and make noise and this kind of stuff. So for those specific spots, that could be Malaga City, that could be Fuengirola City, specifically in the Spanish neighborhoods, those areas are not very keen to rent. And at the end, if you don't have the vast majority of the owners, you need 60% of all the owners voting yes for rentals. And before to put the apartment in Airbnb, you need a letter from the homeowners association, the community, approving these touristic rentals. So knowing the locations is very important. And within the locations, which are the ones which are clearly allowed, right, where you don't have any problem. I always talk about, I have another specific video in my YouTube channel that I clarified which kind of location we have on the Costa del Sol that you can check here. Actually, the resort kind of locations are the perfect areas for rentals. And in those kind of areas, you normally have a lot of amenities, restaurant, there is a hotel, and the whole place is designed for the rentals. And normally as well, these are the areas where you can make the higher return of investment, the highest profit out of these rentals. And that's the next topic that we will see now. So to understand how much money you can make through short-term rentals or Airbnb kind of rentals, let's analyze a real case. In the example we are going to put today is an example we have in our company. We have one of the departments which is dedicated specific for the rentals. It started as a service we did for some of the buyers who work with me willing to rent, because it's rather holiday home or purely investment. And this kind of activity becomes a big part of our company nowadays. In the case of the Higueron area where we rent, we have this good balance in income versus the cost, and that's what makes it more interesting, especially if you buy in a new development when you pay a much lower price in pre-construction and your property value increase a lot, and then it's a modern, more beautiful apartment that if you furnish it well, you can charge prices pretty high. In the area of Higueron, a two-bedroom apartment, you are around 400 euros. If it's a ground floor apartment that we have, could be between 350, more or less. You are in that price range, 350, 400, and units which are a bit better furniture can go above the 400. But in general, you can make good money in this specific resort kind of area because of all the location, amenities and spas and restaurants around, and you are walking distance to the beach in a very desired place, right? But let's talk about now about the operating cost, okay? First of all, what is the monthly payments or a yearly payment you have to do when you own an apartment? You have to pay the property tax that in Spain, in the Fuengirola area, is around 400, 450 a year. Then you also have to pay the community fees that more or less stays under 200. In the case of the example, it's 180 euros a month. Then you might also need to pay all the costs associated, like internet could be 25 euros, then the electricity, the water. And if we put all together monthly costs, we should be around the 300 euros a month, more or less, roughly, for all the services, 3 up to 400, depending on how much the occupancy you have. And that's another topic I want to talk about, the occupancy. And when it comes to occupancy, yeah, you could have 500 euros in price per day, but if your occupancy is just 10%, you're not going to make much more money out of it, right? And on the other hand, you don't want to have like 100% occupancy if you put the price of 100 euro. So at the end, it's a matter of price management. Is that you need to understand when is the higher demand, when is the low demand, move the prices according to this demand. In the Costa del Sol, the high season is the summertime. It's different like in other areas of the world, like in United States and Canada, where actually the high season is during the winter time. But here is summer is the high season. We have all the hotels are fully booked. The prices during the high season are normally double, and you need to is when you have the higher occupancy. So normally, for a top price of a property, which is around 400 euros a night, in the winter time, you might need to drop the prices to 200 euros a month, and you also the occupancy drop to 50-60%. Yearly, in total, at the end, with all the price movements and variations of occupancy, you are in an average of 70% of occupancy. If you are in market prices and you have an okay furnishing and the desired apartment in general, you should be moving in these numbers. If you're not, then you're doing something wrong, right? So the occupancy is normally around 70% if it's priced regularly. You don't want to have constantly full your property, because if at the end what you try to get is the highest profit as possible and the better tenants as possible as well. So that's a good point. Another cost associated to the Airbnb kind of rental is the property management. How much will cost a property management for you if you hire with a company like ours, or if you decided to do it yourself? You can hire a property management company, and more or less they all move around the 20-something%, right? It depends. For example, in our case, what we do is we have 20% of property management fees out of whatever you are making with these rentals, if it's a price which is over a week. If you have 7 days or more, the property needs less work from the management perspective, so the percentage is a bit cheaper. And if you want to put rentals under 7 days, so 6 days or less, with a minimum of 3, then this is 23%, because you have to do more rotation and more work from the cleaning and the customer service in general. So there is also the option to keep it 21, and that's it, and we put 21% to all the bookings, because at the end, more or less, that's the average commission that you will pay to a property management. And what that fee covers, it actually, a property management fee is to forget about everything and all the problems related to the apartments. The property management company will do all the laundry, they will do the customer service, when they will ask questions, when is the pool open, and also I think is one of the most important things is the price management, that decide where to put what. Also, it's not just by posting in Airbnb, we post it in booking.com and other websites and portals to try to fill the calendar, and at the same time, everything related to the maintenance. If there is something broken, if the cleaning and dealing with the staff that will handle that apartment is part of the job as well, so you can completely forget about it and get the money at the end of the month. So to finally answer the question, how much money can you make with Airbnb rentals in the Costa del Sol? Obviously, it depends, but it should be around those numbers we discussed, right? Between the 6 and the 10% of the property value. What does it mean? If you have an apartment in Higueron that worth around 500,000, if you make 50,000 euros every single year after cost, after everything, you are doing a good job. It means that you're probably have a property management that move the prices, that advertise it properly. The pictures are very important in Airbnb, probably you know this already. A good marketing is vital, and a good price strategy is also very important. So my experience with clients who want to just to post it themselves in Airbnb or want to do it themselves, and the end ended up making even less money and having much more work. I've tried this myself. I learned it in a bad way, that try to do it myself with my own property, but at the end you need to leave it to the professionals, which are specialists in rentals, and they can do price management properly, that they can put the coffee and the cookies in the bed, you know what I mean? So this kind of stuff. So in general speaking, yes, can you reach the 10%? Probably by doing it with professionals and by doing it in the right location. My name is Santiago Llera. I'm a local real estate expert here. I am from this specific spot. If you would like to know more, where is the best place to buy, to invest in the Costa del Sol, to have an Airbnb or a holiday home that you can rent it out and cover mortgages, or just for purely investment, feel free to contact me. Let's book an online meeting so I can answer all your questions, okay? Bye then, see you in the next video.